Welcome to the Whiskey Tribe. We have a special guest here today. We have the one, the only, the fancy man. That's my pet name for you, by the way.
Fancy man?
You didn't know that? To have a pet name.
Well, there we go.
We just met, but you already have a pet name. This is Kirby Allison. You focus on, shall we say, the finer things in life when it comes to fashion and things like cigars, and we're about to get in some whiskey as well. Yeah. Today, we're going to learn how to cigar like a gentleman. Let's start with the cigar scene, and then I want to introduce like a whiskey component for you. Do some blind pours, and you can try and dial in what...
Well, they go brilliantly together.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love about cigar more than anything else is the commitment to time, much in the same way.
Yeah, it slows you down.
Right? Slows you down, and I think the most important thing to enjoying a good cigar is enjoying it in good company. And so we've already gotten off to a good start here.
Rex.
We'll see. The day's still early, Kirby. I'm just getting started.
This is the beginning of the tasting.
First, So you walk into a shop and you're thinking like, oh, it's so overwhelming. There's sizes, there's shapes, there's color tones, there's countries of origin. What the hell do you do?
You know, you've got to start somewhere, and so I think that if you're someone that's just getting started with cigars, it's good to have some help, right? Someone to maybe recommend some cigars for you. And there's two, really key components. One is how long of a smoke is it going to be, and how full-bodied or rich of a smoke. So, the best cigars, like what we're going to smoke today, which is a Special 53 from Davidoff, this tobacco has been allowed to sit for 10 years before they even rolled the cigar. So this is whenever, just like with Scotch whiskey, you start getting into the aging and you unlock all the nuances of the flavors.
Right.
And so what's fun is to really kind of dive into all these nuanced characteristics.
Right.
And then second is the length, right? So, if you compare this, which is a double Corona Boulevard, it's one of my favorite kind of formats.
Okay.
Long smoke, this is going to be an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours versus 45 minutes. You don't want to light this up if you don't have time to finish it.
Is the difference just a different leaf?
Yeah, it's a different leaf, different quality of leaf, and even the way that it's just kind of been fermented.
Okay.
Once the
so you
tobacco,
ferment the leaves?
Yeah, absolutely. The tobacco leaf differs region to region and even within the same country, right? So, Cuba is really famous for, this kind of darker wrapper compared to, really what you, until recently, got out of Nicaragua and the Dominican Republic were these lighter leaves.
Yeah.
And, I don't know all the kind of the details behind it, but, the darker leaves, have a little bit more oil in it, a little bit more flavor.
It's like the pot still of cigars.
And whenever you hit it, whenever you hit a Cuban cigar just perfect, it's amazing.
Okay.
There's a little bit more variation and like the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then the great.
Now I have one question before we get into it. This cut right here, called
the Torpedo.
I was told by somebody one time, if you want the best of a budget line, find the Torpedo in the line, because it takes more skill to roll a torpedo.
Absolutely.
And so the better rollers are assigned the torpedoes in the line.
Yeah, that's probably
Is that true?
Pretty good guidance. Yep. What we're going to smoke today, this Davidoff Special 53, again, taking that to like the next level, is what's called a perfecta. And so this is basically torpedoed on both ends.
Right.
Oh, well.
So why would you do that? Is that a taste thing?
It helps the flavor kind of evolve a little bit. But, as you get close to the foot of the cigar, as it tapers, it kind of mixes that smoke and kind of blends it, if you will.
So I have a question about cutting.
Yeah, the cut, and then also, just
amazing.
The general direction is, how do you get the absolute most out of a really nice cigar if you want to experience it in the purest way possible?
Absolutely. And I think that, really the goal of the cut is, one, extracting good smoke, right? And so you can do a V cut, you can do a double V cut, or a straight cut like we're going to do here.
Right.
And I think the fundamental goal is just really balancing the draw.
Okay.
You don't want to cut it, with such a big cut that it just is flooding you, right? But you also don't want too small of a cut where it's too tight of a draw.
Right.
So cutting is actually really important because you can ruin a cigar with a bad cut.
Oh yeah, it comes apart or draws too much.
Well, and one of the small cutters, you've got to really exert a lot of pressure to get a clean cut.
Right.
And if you jank it and
mash
it, you can really ruin a cigar. So I discovered this thing about 10 years ago, and it's a lever action.
It looks like a tool you would get from the DMV.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Or maybe the guy who's doing like the snip the tips. Snip the tips.
That's right, right? That's circle.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do here.
Okay.
So, everyone
Look,
prepare.
Everyone, brace yourselves.
So what I love about this is you can't mess it up.
Okay.
It's like you can't cut too deep, right? You can't
because
cut
of
too
the
much
bar. I
off
didn't see the bars
because
that were
it
stopping
stops,
you.
right here.
Nice, okay.
And then because it's lever action, it's like, it's just such
so
a
graceful.
beautiful
Oh, you
cut.
just press it gently but firmly, I guess.
Yeah, it's
And
like you don't overthink it.
Okay.
All right. My God, the ease of that.
I mean, it's like butter. So then comes to the lighting.
So my draw right now is like
Little
a
on tight
decent
side.
milkshake.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, not freshly
I
done.
drink your milkshake.
Yeah. Sorry. It's like,
What's the point at which you start spending X number of dollars on a stick and you can expect quality every time?
I think it's about $20.
About $20 for a single cigar.
for a single stick?
Wow.
This
Jesus.
is a $32,
No,
smoke.
I know what this is. I'm just gonna say that the whiskey I poured you is not as expensive as the cigar you just gave me.
You're holding out on it.
Yeah,
It's like, come on.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. What are the best practices for lighting a cigar?
Yeah, I mean, I think matches are probably the best way to light a cigar because, again, you allow that sulfur to burn.
Yeah.
You start burning the actual wood stick.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the least likely to introduce kind of any secondary flavors. This is a table lighter that I have.
Oh,
We'll
nice.
see if it works. There we go. I know.
Yeah, that wind. Where are you on the inhale versus don't inhale spectrum?
You don't inhale into your lungs. Really, you should take it into your mouth. But there's something called retrohaling, where you bring it into the mouth, and then you exhale through the nose, but you never take it into the lungs.
Right.
I haven't had enough experiences to really
sure.
become numb to the smokiness.
Yeah.
It's like whiskey. You have enough whiskeys and then the proof, it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
But I still find myself ill-equipped to pinpoint what flavors I'm getting, and one of the most interesting things I found is a lot of the descriptors used while describing cigar notes.
A lot of overlap.
A lot of overlap in whiskey notes.
So when did you get to the point where you're like, I can distinguish actual flavor profiles in these cigars versus it just tastes like smoke?
I mean, I can certainly distinguish good cigars versus bad cigars.
What is the difference for you?
For me, it's how my mouth feels after I'm done. So if you
Oh,
smoke a cigar and
the
you wake up
ashtray
the
mouth.
next morning and you feel like the ashtray in your mouth,
Yeah.
to me that wasn't a good cigar. That is like one of my primary criteria.
What's the protocol in relighting a cigar that's gone out?
First, you boo that man.
Yeah, because I'm going to be pouring whiskeys and handing them to you.
So the most important thing is you want to de-ash it,
Okay.
right?
So you're not trying to light dead ash.
Yeah, and so you can kind of work that out a little bit. And one of the tricks also is if you know that you're going to not smoke your cigar for a while, like you need to go downstairs and you go to the restroom, is you can exhale through, and it pushes the smoke out,
Oh, so it's not just sitting
so
there.
it doesn't turn stale.
You actually exhaled into the cigar?
Yeah, so you blew smoke out.
Okay.
And then you
And
would
you
set
did it
it
very
down.
lightly.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
You're pushing the smoke out of the cigar.
That's such the most helpful tip that I've learned so far.
Let's introduce you to several different whiskeys. These are going to be blind pours across three of the most popular categories that people like to pair with cigars.
Okay.
This is single malt, but you don't know what country it's coming from. It's just a whiskey that is 100% barley. Give each of those just a nose and inhale through both mouth and nose at the same time. And then just kind of pick out various notes. And before you drink, smell them all, because once you start drinking, as with a cigar, you're going to get retronasal notes.
Okay.
That will change the next thing you
Retronasal.
Yeah.
Sounds fancy.
That's right, from the evaporation of alcohol in your throat and your mouth. And just right off the bat, kind of narrow down like, oh, this one really stands out. This is really nice.
So this one right here is standing out.
Okay. What are you smelling in that
A little
one?
bit of like honey.
Okay.
One of the things that we're telling people whenever they're getting into giving notes and flavors is there's not actually a wrong answer. It really comes down to the reference points that people have. Sometimes people struggle with people are saying like graham crackers and baking spices and oakiness and peanut brittle, and I don't get any of that. In the early attempts at trying to pick apart a whiskey, you probably won't. The ability to start picking out and sharing and describing notes and details comes from experience. It comes from the more and more references that you have between the categories.
Just like what you're telling us with the cigars and the flavor profiles and things.
And one of the most helpful things that we've found is for people to be able to have direct comparisons from one whiskey to another. They can say, well, at least this seems a little bit spicier than this one. I'm getting a little bit more cherry on that and a little bit more oak on that.
Once you pick your favorite, we'll pull that one aside.
So this one's
and
more
hold
on
it
the
for
front
you.
of the palate.
Right.
This is more on the back. And let's see what this one does. Ooh, I like this one. So this one kind of floods the palate more.
Right. So is that your preferred one from this lineup?
That wouldn't be my preferred.
All right. So we're going to pull these aside. I'm going to tell you, Rex, what you got to drink. You're going to keep that on your tray because we'll do a 3-3 comparison when you're done. The orange, which Rex has, it's Glendronach.
The
Glendronach 12.
That is surprising.
Yeah.
Because typically out of the Glendronach, I'm going to have so much more dark, heavy, rich fruits. And coming off of the heels of this cigar, I'm not getting that heaviness. I'm not getting that density to the fruit.
No.
Yeah.
Now, you chose the Auchentoshan 12. The mustiness to that lowland Scotch.
Okay.
Right? There's, and all these lowland Scotch, not all of them, but the Glenkinchies, the Auchentoshans, there's this sort of like earthy, grainy mustiness that's really rich.
Yeah.
And it stands up to cigars really well.
Okay.
Now, because you didn't choose it, I'm drinking 30-year-old Talisker.
Why would you do that thing to me?
I mean, like the general, I guess paradigm would have you think that the more age that the whiskey has on it, the better it is.
Quite frankly, there are a lot of whiskeys that could be considered like pretty ancient whiskeys, and they reach a point to where they become, in my opinion, overaged.
Overaged.
Oh, yeah.
You can overage a cigar.
Oh, can you? What happens to an overaged cigar?
Well, so the longer you age it, the less nicotine is in there. And the more the flavors mellow, and just like with wine, if you overage it, you could just end up with a really kind of flat smoked cigar.
Okay. So mellow's not always better, just like
But the
whiskey.
interesting thing is that we actually smoked a 1990s Davidoff. This was a Cuban Davidoff, so a 30-year-old cigar. And I think the best equivalent to a really old cigar is champagne, where you start picking up some of these yeasty kind of flavors that you only can get from a cigar that has had a lot of time, in the humidor.
All right, now this is single malt, but not Scotch. So still single malt whiskey, which you already had, all barley, but not from Scotland.
And different colors too.
And totally different colors.
This is interesting. What do you smell on that? My reference points aren't.
It smells sherry.
Sherry? Okay.
Yeah, that sort of like raisiny, dark plum.
Okay. These are all really good.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
I would probably go for this one.
Okay. Rex, which one do you want of green or orange?
I'm going for this one. I have like a really nice, like a sweet eucalyptus for me.
So the one you chose is the Australian Starward single malt, and it does have that sort of herbal eucalyptus-y note, right? I got the Sherry Wood Westland, which you probably would have preferred if you had tasted it before you tasted that one.
Right.
You ended up with the Balcones Lineage, which is the super fruity but woody one.
Can't get away from those bastards.
We really can't, man. Okay, now we move to America. This is your bourbon category, so roam through at your own pace.
Full disclosure, I'd say bourbon is probably one of my favorite things to smoke.
Why?
The sweetness.
Okay, that makes sense.
When it comes to dropping ice in it and pairing with things that are very robust, like
I agree.
cigars.
I think bourbon stands up more than most.
Bourbon is such a present, and intense may not be the right word, but there's such a present flavor set.
Wait, hold on. This ashtray has your name on it.
Sure does. You like that?
It's engraved Kirby Allison on the side. Maximum fancy.
That's how you know it's fancy, because it's maximum fancy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, you got, I'm assuming.
You all right there?
We've got some alcohol here.
Yeah, hoofda.
Did you drop in a high proof?
Maybe.
All right.
So I would say that the first one is my clear kind of winner. This first one, again, it's smooth. It's got a little bit of a lingering sweetness to it. And I enjoy that.
I'm just going to grab the one closest to me.
Notice how he stacked the deck here.
No, I actually
He's like grabbing the 30. He's like, I'm just going to grab this one. Okay, so let's find out here. Let's
got $500 worth
Well,
of
because
whiskey
I know what the
for you
high proof one is, and I know Rex is going to like it. Actually, that's legitimately why I did that.
You did that?
Yeah, so Rex got the George Stagg Jr.
Oh, that has a reputation for being a big boy.
Yeah.
That is super high proof.
63% alcohol in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I ended up with Balcones Pot Still Bourbon.
Okay.
Now, you're going to swear.
This is really.
You're going to swear to the death
Right.
that I stacked this somehow.
What did he
I
choose?
feel like Brian Brushwood.
Right.
He chose the Smooth Ambler contradiction.
Wait. They're the sponsor of this episode.
They are.
Are they really?
No joke. That's the Smooth Ambler contradiction you just picked, which is a blend of their own whiskey and sourced whiskey.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so you go to bourbon more often than not.
I do.
You chose your Smooth Ambler, the contradiction there. Daniel, let's find a really special pour of a bourbon.
What's your favorite bourbon that you've tried?
Whew. Wouldn't even say I have a just tried and true favorite yet. So.
All right. Give me a one that you're like, oh, I know I like that one. Like if you went to the store and got one that you knew.
Maker's 46 is good.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Classic.
That actually gives me a direction.
Or Woodford, some of the Woodford Reserve.
Is really good. That gives me a very clear direction, actually.
I'm thinking cherry. I'm thinking a present oakiness.
The weeded bourbons.
Maybe some nice rich honey in there.
So this is the Old Fitzgerald 11-year-old.
Okay. Can we compare these?
So the Old Fitzgerald. Oh, is it uneven? I can't tell. I was moving really quickly. There you go. Nice.
Welcome to Team Mooch.
So, Old Fitzgerald is one of the oldest brands. It actually had a license to distill during Prohibition, one of the few. Wow. It's still one of their fancier specialty releases. It's an 11-year-old wheated bourbon. I think it's going to be right up your alley. Well,
gentlemen,
cheers.
Cheers. To enjoying an afternoon well. Mm-hmm. Beautiful nose.
It's one of the more fruity and not just cherry.
That's great, yeah.
Right?
Full
Did
body.
We nail it?
Yep, you nailed that.
Yes! Okay, so...
You guys are the professionals. This is excellent. So it's full-bodied, complexity of flavor.
Yeah.
It's rich enough, it cleanses the palate and kind of resets for the smoke.
Yeah. If people want to learn more about your content, where can they find more Kirby Allison?
Yeah. Well, so youtube.com/Kirby Allison, our channel. We dive into quality craftsmanship and tradition. Is kind of our nexus.
In any category?
In any category.
Okay.
And that's what I'm really excited about being here for, is that it's a totally separate domain, but it's the same fundamentals of quality, craftsmanship, and tradition. And that's what I love about fine things that are well made, is that we come from different backgrounds, we've got kind of different interests, but we can sit at this table, we can smoke a cigar, we can drink fine alcohol, and enjoy each other's company and conversation.
Cheers to that.
At the end of the day is what this is about.
Thank you so much for coming, Kirby.
Thanks for having me.
It's a great time.
My favorite tradition is the game show tradition.
It's time for Bullshit on the J! Brought to you by Smooth Ambler. We're going to go through and we're going to ask our esteemed guest, the Kirby Allison, some questions about the cigars.
Okay.
Now, Daniel's going to try and convince you that his answer is the legitimate answer. I'm going to give you a different answer and trying to convince you that my answer is the legitimate answer. One of us is legit, one of us is
not.
Bullshit.
You can't both be bullshit?
Well, we're both like emotionally.
So, first question, Daniel, are you ready?
I was born ready.
What is the most popular category of whiskey in the whiskey tribe to pair with cigars?
I'm going to say bourbon. The reason it's bourbon is because the tribe also found exactly what you found earlier in the episode, which is that it stands up well to everything.
All right, Kirby, what we have here is a perfect example of anecdotal evidence. This is an exception that doesn't prove the rule, and the rule is that it's in fact Scotch. And in the whiskey tribe, these are whiskey nerds, man.
What kind of Scotch?
Islay Scotch, because...
Oh, of all Scotch?
Of all, yes, Islay Scotch, because they love that smokiness, that earthiness, and it does just some weird voodoo.
No, smoke with smoke. Obviously,
with
that's
cigars. Not right. No, the people that are doing the pairing, they're grabbing that Islay Scotch more often than not. The bourbon, it does cute things, I'll admit.
It's adorable.
Kirby, what is the most popular category to pair with cigars in the whiskey tribe? What say you?
Ooh, boy. I'm going to go with Islay.
Oh, so we have this thing called the fog of shame.
That's the wrong answer.
Wrong answer? No?
It was bourbon.
Bourbon?
Yeah.
I like bourbon, but...
Yeah. Okay, you have a chance to redeem yourself,
Okay.
Kirby. Are you
All
ready?
right. That was a trick question.
In the whiskey tribe, the Magnificent Bastards, those that partake of the whiskey and the cigar, what is the most popular method of cutting said cigar? Is it the punch, the straight cut, or the V-cut? Daniel, what say you?
I'm going to say the V-cut because it gives you the most access to a reasonable flow, but takes the least amount of cigar.
I'll admit, it was close, but you're still wrong. It was the straight cut.
Straight cut, yeah.
Straight
The straight cut.
No.
And I think I need to say nothing else other than the convenience,
Yeah.
the simplicity of being able to do a straight cut. Kirby, what say you?
I'm gonna say that is legit.
You got it. For this final question. If you get it wrong, you will be able to take home
a participation trophy.
Now this was from my personal collection.
Oak Hill Mustangs fall of 90.
We didn't win, but I participated the hell out of that season. Now if you win, you get a hand-blown decanter from the Smooth Amber.
Hand-blown.
Did we mention it's hand-blown?
Does it come with the bottle?
It's hand-blown. Oh.
Okay, final question. OG magnificent bastard, Winston Churchill. What country made his preferred cigars? Daniel, wants to hear.
Now, remember the easy, obvious answer is Cuba because Cuban cigars. But remember, Winston Churchill was a man of the people, almost a blue-collar leader.
Yes.
Right? And spent some time in the Dominican Republic, where he developed an affinity specifically for Dominican Republic cigars.
Okay.
So he had to obfuscate the truth immediately because he knew it was too powerful and obvious. This is the Cubans, specifically the Romeo and Julieta. He was reaching for that constantly. Mr. Allison, what say you?
Bullshit.
Wait, I'm bullshit? Damn it! You're right. You're the first person.
There's a fog of victory?
It looks surprisingly like the fog of shame, but it's totally different.
Very different. Cheers to you, sir.
Yes, well done.
Well done. Thanks to Smooth Ambler for sponsoring this community game.
This is good stuff, I have to say. One of my favorites.
Are they paying you too?
I wish they were.
All right, Kirby Allison, now in the world of cigar enjoyment, I think there's a lot to appreciate, a lot to enjoy. There's also a lot that's kind of finicky. I want to see if I can improve, if I can innovate in this world of craftsmanship, quality, and tradition of yours. Okay. Now,
First things first.
elegant, simple, and you don't get the smoky fingers.
Okay. What's my scale here?
On a scale of a janky to maximum fancy, how we doing?
We're on a janky side. We're maximum janky.
Dude, the bar is not set high on this. This is game changing.
Okay.
You're going to appreciate this, right? Because with a cigar, fully 50% of our ability to maneuver and use our hands is taken up by cigar.
That's right.
You throw a whiskey in there, what do? Hands-free cigar.
Okay, yeah.
Fully articulating.
Fully articulating? That's a cigar industry term.
You know what? Paraplegics should be able to enjoy cigars also.
That's true.
So I'm going to say that's a 6. That's pretty fancy.
Oh,
A 6?
I'm getting towards maximum fancy. We're not done yet, Kirby Allison.
Oh, that's fancy.
Mobile, simple, elegant. Your glass holder is right here. You cut out the tube sock. The glass lives right here. And Daniel, thank you very much for your contribution.
Yeah, you're welcome. Is it working? It's not really hands-free, is it?
If you're in a place where they have like servers, this is how you let them know that you're ready for a refill.
Oh, there you go. And
it's
you
like
have your tally on top also.
It's like
score.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like at a barbecue
score.
joint where you raise the flag for more meat.
4.5.
We're still average 6.
8.
Bam.
There it
There we
is.
go.
Yeah.
What is a smoking jacket?
So smoking jacket is normally traditionally a velvet jacket you'd wear over, your shirt and tie. You take your actual jacket off, hang it, put the smoking jacket on because a gentleman would never be seen without a proper jacket.
Oh, geez. Okay.
But I'm going to go ahead and one-up you, Kirby Allison.
I don't know how you can one-up a mobile glass holder smoking gimbal
with the smoking bathrobe.
Maximum fancy.
Yeah, but here's the problem with the smoking bathrobe.
Yes.
The smoke is all around your face.
It is. Here's how it gets far superior to a smoking jacket. You cut out the holes. It doesn't get in your hair.
That's science.
Yeah. This is a straight up,
How we doing?
Good. I think we're bumping 8. I think we're at a 9 now. If you're smoking at home in your bathrobe, then that is, you've really reached.
You've really arrived. Let me try.
Yeah.
I see the flaw in this plan.
We bop and pretty hot. I'm as happy as I can be.